Formula One is about to press the reset button. New cars, new engines, new power balance, new rules that could destroy dynasties overnight. And yet, in the middle of all this uncertainty, chaos and fear spreading across the paddock, one name keeps coming up again and again as a potential winner: Max Verstappen. That might sound insane at first. How can a full regulation reset, the kind that usually wipes out dominance, actually help the most dominant driver of the modern era? Tonight, we're breaking that down, because when you look past the headlines, past the fear, and past the hype, the 2026 regulations might not be a threat to Max Verstappen at all. They might be the reason he stays on top. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this reset could expose weaknesses in his rivals and amplify everything Max does better than anyone else. And trust me, this isn't just about engines. Let's start with the fear everyone else is feeling. The 2026 regulations represent one of the biggest technical shifts Formula One has ever attempted. Smaller, lighter cars, less downforce, more reliance on electrical power, nearly a 50-50 split between internal combustion and electric energy, active aerodynamics, and a complete rethink of how drivers manage energy, deployment, and race pace. For most drivers, this is terrifying, because resets punish drivers who rely on muscle memory, drivers who thrive in stable rule sets, drivers who need predictability. But Max Verstappen has never been that driver. In fact, if history has taught us anything, it's this: Verstappen doesn't survive chaos, he weaponizes it. Think back to previous regulation changes. Ground effect cars in 2022 were supposed to level the playing field. Instead, Max adapted faster than almost anyone else. While others complained about porpoising, balance, and instability, Verstappen learned how to drive around it, extract performance from it, and mentally map the limits before the rest of the grid even understood where those limits were. That adaptability is the first reason the 2026 reset might actually favor him. The new regulations put a massive emphasis on driver energy management. Not just pushing flat out, but knowing when to push, when to harvest, and how to deploy power without compromising lap time. This is not just engineering, this is race IQ. And Verstappen's race IQ is terrifying. He doesn't just react to what's happening on track, he predicts it. He anticipates grip loss. He anticipates tire degradation. He anticipates when rivals will be vulnerable. Now imagine that same predictive ability applied to a system where energy deployment is as important as braking points. That's a dangerous combination. Because while other drivers will be thinking, "Can I push now?" Max will already know the answer 3 corners ago. Here's where things get even more interesting. The 2026 cars are expected to produce less downforce overall, especially in slow and medium-speed corners. That means drivers will have to manage rear instability, traction loss, and corner exit much more carefully. Sound familiar? That's literally Verstappen's comfort zone. For years, Max has preferred cars with a sharp front end and a loose rear, cars that other drivers describe as on edge. While many drivers want stability, Max thrives in controlled instability. He doesn't fight the car when it moves, he works with it. And when downforce is reduced, that skill becomes priceless. Corner exits will matter more. Throttle control will matter more. Micro corrections will matter more. And Max Verstappen is arguably the best driver on the grid at combining aggression with precision. This is where rivals should be worried. Because if the 2026 cars are harder to drive, the gap won't close. It will widen. Now let's talk about power units. The new engines will rely heavily on electrical deployment. Drivers will need to manage energy like chess pieces, sacrificing now to attack later, defending by harvesting, and choosing the perfect moment to strike. This is not something you can brute force with talent alone. It requires discipline. And discipline is something Verstappen has developed dramatically over the last few seasons. Early in his career, Max was known for pushing too hard. Now, he's one of the most controlled drivers in Formula One. He knows when to attack and when to wait. He knows that races are not won in the first 5 laps, but they can absolutely be lost there. That mental evolution lines up perfectly with what 2026 will demand. Quick pause. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, do me a favor and hit the like button right now. It tells the algorithm you want real F1 analysis, not recycled paddock gossip. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Unless you enjoy missing videos and pretending you'll watch them later like everyone else. Now, here's a question I want you to think about, because that's exactly what 2026 does. Active aero will exist, but overall downforce will be lower. That means drivers won't be able to rely on planted cars through every phase of the corner. Mechanical grip and driver feel will matter more. And once again, that plays straight into Verstappen's hands. Max has an exceptional sense of grip. He feels the car at a molecular level, through steering weight, through throttle resistance, through how the rear reacts mid-corner. He doesn't wait for understeer to appear on telemetry. He feels it before it exists. In a formula where feedback is king, that sensitivity becomes a superpower. Now let's add another layer: simulation. Multiple team principals, including rivals, have openly admitted that the drivers who excel in simulators will gain a huge advantage heading into 2026. Why? Because real-world testing is limited. Understanding complex hybrid systems before hitting the track is crucial. And guess who is known for spending obsessive hours in the simulator? Max Verstappen. This isn't speculation. Engineers have repeatedly mentioned his ability to correlate sim data with real-world behavior. That means when he gets into the actual car, he's not learning, he's confirming. Others will be experimenting. Max will be refining. That difference could define the early part of the 2026 season. Now here comes the controversial part. Some fans believe the reset will finally nerf Verstappen, that the field will close, that new regulations mean new heroes, but history doesn't support that idea. Regulation resets don't reward drivers who are fast in perfect conditions. They reward drivers who can adapt fastest when conditions are imperfect. And Verstappen has built his career on imperfection. Rain races, mixed conditions, strategy chaos, late safety cars, unstable cars, high pressure moments. He doesn't just survive those scenarios, he dominates them. That's why the reset might not just maintain his advantage, it could reinforce it. Now let me throw a cliffhanger at you. What if 2026 actually exposes weaknesses in drivers we currently think are complete? What if drivers who rely heavily on aerodynamic stability struggle when grip is inconsistent? What if drivers who shine in qualifying struggle to manage energy across race distances? That's where Max could pull away. Because Verstappen is not a one-lap specialist. He's a race distance assassin. He understands flow. He understands patience. He understands that winning is not about the fastest lap. It's about controlling the narrative of the race. And that mindset is exactly what 2026 demands. Let me ask you something, and answer honestly in the comments. Do you think the 2026 regulations will help Max Verstappen or finally stop him? I want your take. Now let's address the elephant in the room, Red Bull. Yes, the team itself faces uncertainty with power unit changes and new technical partnerships. But Red Bull has one massive advantage. They build around Verstappen's feedback, not his ego, his feel. When Max says something is wrong with the car, engineers listen. When he says a setup won't work in the race, they adjust. That feedback loop is critical during regulation resets. Teams that argue with their drivers lose time. Teams that trust them gain performance. Red Bull trusts Max, and Max rewards that trust by delivering clarity, precision, and brutal honesty in feedback. As 2026 approaches, that relationship could be worth tenths per lap, and tenths win championships. We're almost at the end now, and this is the final truth. The 2026 regulations are not designed to favor dominance. They are designed to create unpredictability. But unpredictability is exactly where Max Verstappen is most dangerous, because when everyone else is guessing, he's calculating. When everyone else is adapting, he's already adapted. And when everyone else is hoping the reset saves them, Max is preparing to turn it into another advantage. So don't be surprised if, when the lights go out in 2026, the grid looks different, but the man at the front looks very familiar. Before you go, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell me in the comments, is Max Verstappen still the man to beat in 2026? Or will this reset finally create a new era? And if you want to understand how one driver could mentally break rivals before the season even starts, click the next video on your screen right now. I'll see you there.